Damion Cooper. I'm the founder and executive director of Project Pneuma. So the incident that inspired me to start Project Pneuma was from back in 1992. I was a sophomore at Coppin State College, now university, and I decided to take the bus home. And got home, and unbeknown to me, I was actually being followed by two guys. I had on headphones. When I turned around, one of the guys pulled out the gun and pulled the trigger and shot me. The bullet hit me and chipped up the heart, ricocheted, cracked my sternum, ricocheted, broke 3 ribs, ricocheted, and lodged under the nerves of my right arm. And for me being shot, I became a very broken and honestly a destitute young man. And growing up, taught to feel our pain, to express our pain, or to say we were hurt. So I remember as I was sitting down in my house, bleeding out in front of my mother and my sister and my stepdad, instead of me crying out in pain, I held it in because I didn't want my mother or anybody to see me cry. And so that broke me down emotionally and mentally, and to the point where I wanted to take my own life because I didn't know how to handle the pain. And it wasn't for men who had been through something similar in their lives to talk me through it, to guide me through it, and to lead me through it and let me know that it was okay to cry and express that I was hurt. I might not be here today doing the work that I do. And so what I try to do with the boys in Baltimore and beyond is that I want them to feel everything. I want them to know when they're hurt. I want them to express when they feel in pain. I want them to cry out when they need to cry out, because all too often Black men don't do that. And surely enough, if Black men not doing it, we're not teaching our Black boys to do it either. COVID hit hard, it hit quick. I am honestly blessed to say that I have a phenomenal team. And what we did, we banded together quickly, and we were able to adapt. So what we did, we built out a tremendous virtual platform, and we actually test marketed and piloted over the summer. Beyond what we do in Project Pneuma throughout the school year, we also run a 5-week biomedical STEM program. And so over the summer, we were able to pilot this program via Zoom that was able to reach kids not only from Baltimore, but we had kids as far as Los Angeles to as far as Connecticut. And in doing so, we knew that this platform would work, that we were to build out breakout rooms and things like that. So now, with sessions going on right now, we're able to continue to do programming like we didn't miss a beat. We decided to make sure that the boys still feel like they were inside our project, even though we weren't there physically, by having our van drivers deliver yoga mats to them, their yoga equipment, their athletic equipment, their Project Pneuma shirts, because we wanted them to still feel like they're part of the family. Even though we couldn't touch them physically, we can still be there with them face to face, and they can still see our expressions and feel our emotions. And so even though the pivot has been rough because we can't be with them one-on-one, but we're happy the fact that we were able to adapt and to progress and build on what we had. And we're able to touch people not only in Baltimore again, but we can touch people throughout the country. As we know, the nation, nationally, the world has seen how Black boys, men and women and girls have been treated by people who are charged to protect and serve us. And so I'm extremely proud to say that we are actively working to help rewrite the police training curriculum. We're actively helping to rewrite the community policing plan in Baltimore. And so, as you all know, that Baltimore is under a federal consent decree, and there are certain things that have to be in place to get through that consent decree. But since we're doing this work, we're hoping to make Baltimore a national model on what police reform looks like and how you can have police officers and young men who actually build together and grow together. So that's one of the best things. And so our goal is to help to shape the minds and the hearts of police departments around the country. We need the police officer recruits to understand that all Black boys are not criminals in waiting. They're not people that you need to fear and look upon as threats. And in turn, we also need to make sure our young boys know that every officer is not to kill them as well, and that everything they see on social media or they're hearing from, or the learned behaviors they're learning from parents are not always true. And so our goal is to be that bridge builder throughout the country for reform the police department and to bridge the gap between boys and men of color. With all this going on with racism, poverty, violence, Baltimore truly needs a boost. This city needs healing. One thing I've learned in my 48 years in Baltimore is that Baltimore is a very unforgiving place. We have been through so many things, so many, mayoral scandals. We've been through a revolving door of leadership in the police department. Baltimore is a city that is in need of healing. We all need to come together. We need these kind of venues like this, what I'm doing right now, to speak about our city and the love that we have for it, even though we know that it needs help. These are trying times, and our views have to stop being so myopic, and we have to be able to open up our eyes and our hearts and really begin to feed those neighborhoods and those communities that truly need the help, and not just give it lip service. If not, we're going to continue spinning our wheels, and it is my hope under this new administration and the changes that have been taking place, and unfortunately, the changes that have taken place because of the poison of this country. Hopefully, the change will take hold and stay and be sustainable, and not just be here until something else happens. I can only remain hopeful, and I can only be a part of the change and not to get weary in well doing. And I just hope that we can just continue to grow together. I mean, but it's gonna take a lot of hard work and a lot of people willing to step up. How do I cope and keep the faith? That is a great question. And the funny thing is that I am an ordained minister with a master's degree in theology, and sometimes it gets hard. One big thing that I do, and one thing we do for our boys, it's funny, I had it sitting right here beside me, and I'm gonna lift it up, is that I have a journal. And one thing I do is that I write. One thing I've learned is that it's really hard for people to express themselves, especially men and boys, because they don't know what to say at times. So I write. I get up every day at 5 a.m. I don't care what day it is. I get up at 5 a.m. and I start with 3 scriptures. And I say those scriptures out loud. I pray, and then I meditate, and then I write. And this is what I do to help me. And then I look at my children. I'm a father of 3. I have a daughter who just graduated from college. I have a son who's about to go into college. And I have a younger daughter who's about to become a senior. And so I take great pride and joy in the gifts that God gave me, and I get to smile as I see them succeed in life. And then when I see my probably newer boys are succeeding, that brings me joy and peace. But really, it's the fact that I'm now in a place where if I'm not having a good day, a great day, I'm not going to hold it in. I'm not the Black man who's afraid to cry. I will, because I know it's cleansing. It also takes me back to what my late grandmother would say. She would say, Damion, if you're having a bad day, go to sleep. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, close the blinds and go to sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. So after I was shot, I stopped going to college because I was broken, as I was saying. But then once I became more whole, went back to school and got a degree in marketing. And then I decided to go to seminary and get a degree in theology. And while in seminary, I started doing work in a prison in Baltimore. And in the prison I was working in, I was working with a small group of young men who were in pre-release. They had 3 years or less to go in prison. And unbeknown to me, I was actually mentoring the very man that shot me. And it wasn't until he kept saying things throughout our interview process that allowed me to begin to think that our lives are just intersecting too much. This can be a coincidence. And I remember going to the chaplain, Christopher Wallace, and telling him that I believed that one of the young men who were in my group was the man that shot me. And if anyone has ever worked in a prison ministry or done that kind of work, you know you can't have any kind of personal relationship with someone like that because they're worried about repercussions, somebody coming back to do these kind of things and things of that nature. But he allowed me to talk to the guy under his conditions. So he cleared out the room and allowed me to sit at one 6-foot table with Chaplain Wallace beside me and a correctional officer there, and we were directly in front of the guard booth. And I was able to ask this young man a series of questions, open-ended questions, nothing direct. And I vividly remember asking him, the first question was, have you done anything that you are not proud of, that you were not convicted of, or, that you get caught for? And everything he said was nothing. And I said, is there, anyone that you would like to offer forgiveness, you want to ask for forgiveness for? And he said he wasn't sure. And I remember Chaplain Wallace looking at me, telling me, like, look, you're going to get me in trouble because I shouldn't be doing this. And the third question was nothing, but then the fourth question, I remember him looking me dead in my face and telling me that we followed this guy from the number 5 bus. And we followed him all through a school parking lot, Sinclair Lane Elementary School. We was going to shoot him then, but this white guy was walking his dog down the street off of Chesterfield and Dudley Avenue. We watched him cross the street, walk down the alley, and walk down to a street that was well lit called Lindell Avenue. He said that my boy told him that, if you're going to shoot him, you got to do it now because this is where there's a bus running and people will be outside. So we ran up on him, and when he turned around, I pulled the trigger. And I remember sitting there, literally like awestruck, because I'm facing the man who put a bullet in my chest, the same man I worked with for a 1.5 years, trying to help him get ready to enter life again, to become whole again. A man that I was teaching that it was okay to express your emotions while he was in prison. And now I'm finding out this is the very man that shot me. And then I did the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I looked at him in his face, and I remember I had on this white shirt and this hideous tie. And I loosened the tie and buttoned my shirt and pulled down my t-shirt, showed him the hole in my chest. And I said, "You shot me." And I remember him turning beet red. He was a very light-skinned guy, and he turned beet red. And I remember Chaplain Wallace, mouth wide open, and the correctional officer in the back dropped her radio. The guard station, they hopped up like something was happening, and Chaplain Wallace, waved them away. And I said again, "You shot me." And I stood up. Chaplain Wallace grabbed my hand. I said, "I'm fine." And I stood up. I walked to the table, and I said it again, I forgive you. He stood up, and I hugged this man. In a 1.5 years, I learned a whole lot about him, that he was not a monster. I learned that, he was the big brother who had 2 younger sisters. He was the son whose father was killed in prison. He was the son whose mom was working on the streets to provide for her family. And he wanted to feel safe and whole, but he decided to go to people who weren't going to do that for him, but instead they told him the wrong way. And so I knew that he was not a monster. And I remember hugging this man. And to this very day, it is now January 13th, 2021. I still work with this guy. Every single Saturday we talk. And I still mentor him. And the reason why I can do this, why I want to do this for every boy in Baltimore and beyond, is because I know that we are all hurt little boys on the inside who have never had the opportunity to tell somebody that I love you, that I need you, that I feel hurt. I don't know if I'm going to make it through another day. And it's more prevalent now young boys, because of the age of social media and the things that are feeding their minds and their spirits. And so what pushes me is that I want our boys to have a better day. I want our boys to breathe new life. Pneuma means, wind, breath, spirit, breath of life. It's a Greek word, short for pneumatology, the study of Holy Spirit. And I believe God breathed new life into me when I got shot, and it's my job and my team's job to breathe new life into the young men in some of the dead situations that they're facing every single day of their life. This is why I do this work. This is why when Mondays come around, I'm pumped. Mondays are my favorite day of the week, because that's a day we get a chance to start imparting our lives again. Weekends are just the icing on the cake. Mondays are the day we get a chance to start fresh. This is why I do this work.